on the beat.
Welcome to the Supercoach Take podcast. It is the first podcast we're doing for 2021, and we're back and been looking up Supercoach a lot this year and really excited to speak about it. We're moving to SoundCloud this year because had some trouble with Podbean overcharging us, so we've moved to SoundCloud, and we'll also be available on Apple and Spotify, so it should be good. For today's topics, we're going to speak about our top three starting picks in each line, and we'll also go over some mid prices and the ruck situation. And joining me to talk about all this is Enno. How you going, mate?
George, how are you, buddy?
Doing very well, and yeah, I'm sure you got a lot to offer this year, so it's going to be a good year. And I think we can go straight to the defenders. Get stuck into it straight away. So we'll discuss our top three defenders as starting picks. So price is a factor. So obviously, if it was midfielders, we'd all just say Neil and whatnot. But we're including price here. So my top three defenders are Jake Lloyd, Caleb Daniel, and also I have Jaden Short, who's had a big preseason, it seems. What are you thinking this year for your top three, Anna?
Definitely got similar with Jake Lloyd. I mean, I just think you got to lock him away. Don't be concerned about the injury that he's apparently had. He'll be fine to go round one. I've got Laird. Surprising you don't have him there as a Crows fan. Playing midfield this year, I just think he's an absolute lock. And I've got Shorty as well, of course.
So I think we can start speaking on Jake Lloyd. So Jake Lloyd, he's had the minor knee sprain, but it sounds like he's in full training now and should be fine for round one. I am pretty worried about not owning Jake Lloyd and watching what he can do in the defence this year with the way that the uncontested game is going. And even in the preseason, he said, my role for the team is, my teammates feed me the ball basically, and I do whatever with it. So,
yeah.
Would you consider not starting Jake Lloyd?
Me personally, no. I mean, I take it from a non-owner last year. It was an absolute mess watching him go 140 literally every week and not having him and being unable to get him. And like you said, with those rules, seeing like Shorty and Caleb Daniel absolutely dominate on the weekend, we don't have to see that from Lloyd. We already know he can, and it's scary to think he might even average more.
Yeah, there's no way you sit through another season without Jake Lloyd. You might toy with it, but there's so many 500k guys.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not worth the pain. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So my number two player is Caleb Daniel, and you have Laird. So I think it's on Daniel. So as soon as we saw what defenders were doing, within the first two games of the Amy series, I threw Daniel in. And I just thought straight away, he was dominating at training already, and he's basically been a premium for 2 years anyway. So I just saw the amount, like he pushes up the ground a lot, but he is by far their best ball user in defence. I think Bailey Williams is doing okay down there as well as Crozier, but they're not as good as Daniel. So they're going to use Daniel as much as possible. Do you think this is an obvious pick, or what are you thinking with Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I've got him in my side too. I'm going to bring up, I reckon it was 2 years ago almost. Remember when I was pumping his tyres? He's a forward then, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, his best kick in the comp over probably, 30, 40 metres, because obviously he can't kick as long as the others. But yeah, he rarely turns it over. The only concern, if I was to think of one, would just be all the points the rest of the Dogs players get. And if they don't win a game, is he going to be in their top 3 or 4? But he's still probably going to have a high floor of 80, 90, so you're probably not going to be too concerned about that. Do you agree there, or?
I think he'll be fine, even if they lose a few games. I just think they're just going to use him as much as possible. He's pretty integral to their game plan. More or less worried about him getting tagged. But then they might need to tag Bont as well if he gets out of control. So who knows? It's hard to watch as a coach. You can't let Daniel and Short get that many disposals and use it that much. But the thing is, it's quite hard to stop because a lot of them just get the handball received around the back or whatever.
That's what I was going to say. How do you tag them? Like, they're just going to get free touches anyway. It's different to a midfielder, I think, especially with, like you said, the run around the back. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to tag them.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to defend those 15-meter 20 kicks.
Yeah.
They were showing highlights of on 360 tonight, and things that just wouldn't happen last year. Now they're better options, more or less through the corridor of the ground, which is the most dangerous part of the ground.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot more corridor use, less stoppages overall. I think it was 15% less stoppages overall, and probably because players aren't kicking down the line as much. So yeah, I think Daniel is a pretty safe option, and he's pretty much locked in my team.
Yeah. Look, he's in my team. He just wasn't in my top 3.
So Laird is an interesting one because probably maybe like a few weeks ago, he was the number 2, the clear number 2, in my opinion, behind Jake Lloyd with the new role. Crows are going to get flogged a lot, and defenders are scoring more points just because that's how it is this year. Whether that goes into the actual season, I can't know for sure, but it seems likely based on the way the game's being played in the first preseason games. So Laird is one of the Crows' best. He is by far the Crows' best midfielder, and I don't think it's close. He holds that midfield together. It falls apart without Laird. The only reason why, Crows did okay against Port in the stoppages, and it was all because of Laird basically. But without him,
like 10 tackles as well, didn't he?
Yeah. So, are you locking in Laird this year?
Yeah, I think it's impossible for me to take him out of my team. I think I didn't have him last year because I don't know. He just didn't. There was a couple of other options last year, but with the midfield role, and he's still having defender status. I think it's if you don't have him in your team, you're pretty crazy.
Yeah, I can definitely see others outscoring him, but yeah, what he was able to do last year was just pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
So our third picks, rounding out the top 3 starting picks, and it definitely helps that Jaden Short is cheaper than these guys. Oh yeah, it's Jaden Short. So your man, I think you can speak more about him, but how many touches? 43. Just phenomenal.
That's crazy.
He can rooster like anyone. He can do everything by foot. So why is Jaden Short rated so highly by yourself?
I think he's, like you said, similar to Daniel when we were explaining before, but he can kick it that much further. And like the Dogs, we're used to, now with Basher at the side, every time in the back 50, every exit, it has to go through him. It's like they wouldn't leave the back 50 unless it was in his hands. And he gets up the ground too. That's the thing. Other than Daniel does a bit too actually, but they get up and they get inside 50s as well. So we know long kicks, big points, inside 50s for possible score assists, big points again. He's been my favorite player for 3 or 4 years, so it's a bit of bias, but yeah, it's just cool to see now that. And Bash is not playing round 1. I think Jack said, Rewalt said on 360 the other night. So I don't know how cooked he is, but it's got to go through Shorty. Everything out of defence has got to go through him.
I'm not expecting much of Basher Hooley this year. That was a pretty nasty calf tear in the grand final, and
what is it? 5 months later, he's still got it. So
yeah, a big fan of Jaden Short. One thing to note with Short as well is I was noticing some in the intra clubs when I was just watching them. Sometimes it was like the Daniel Rich thing where they're 55, 60 out or whatever, and they hand pass it off to their best kick in the league.
Yeah,
like Brady Smith does it, and they have a shot on goal.
Yeah.
So there might be some free points there if they pass it to Short and he can roost from 55 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, it was against Collingwood. He kicked 2 goals in a row in the first quarter from 55, 60. Twice Collingwood let him kick it from out there. So that will do that a lot.
Yeah, so that'll be a nice bonus. Now our Smokies. So we have 2 interesting ones here. You can go first. Who's your Smoky for defender? Say top 6.
Yeah. Well, Smokey in the fact that he's, I think, 9 or 8% ownership, but it's Jordan Ridley. I mean, this kid, what he did last year was absolutely insane. I don't think he missed a target for about the first 6 weeks that he played. That wet game against, I think it was Hawthorn, he was marking everything. This kid's just almost already the top 3 interceptor in the league. And I had Stewart and I've got the rest we just spoke about, but I just want a guy like Rids just to to watch every week because that's the thing. I love watching him play. It's insane.
He's so clean when he
Oh,
plays.
it's ridiculous.
With Ridley as well, he's taking more kickouts.
That was he took all of them, was it? Or he played on from all of them, I think it was. No, he took 7, but he played on from every single one. That was it. Yeah. I think Freako tweeted, so that's just more bonus points.
More points, yeah. I think he's going to have a lot of responsibility back there. I'm not sure. I think they were going to use Stewart as a defender. I don't know what the setup is down back.
Yeah.
Does he have to play more accountable at times? I'm not sure, but it's not going to stop him from taking intercept marks.
No.
Just because he does that for fun, basically. But I hope to get him in at some point, to be honest, but we'll see how it goes. Now, my Smokey is a burn man from last who actually finished the year okay.
My man.
I was watching the showdown, the Amy game between the Crows and Port. Dan Houston was doing everything. And saying his name sounds a bit dirty, to be honest, because really, last year, it was...
That pick hurt you a lot.
He kind of...
You hated that.
Yeah, he didn't really have much of a role last year, early in the season. I just thought, CBA just went down straight away.
He was getting thrown around. Yeah, he was getting thrown in the midfield 1 week, back to the fence the next. So it probably killed his momentum, I guess. Yeah,
it probably wasn't more. It wasn't Houston's fault, probably. Probably more the coach's fault. But he was gulling like no tomorrow, and I remember watching towards the end of last year, and he was doing the same thing. And I'm thinking that because of his price and because of the way defenders are going, he could average 100, I think.
What's he priced at?
Priced at $490.
Okay.
So I think they were just using him so much, and they kept handballing to him, and he was just taking so many uncontested marks. And that's the game right now. There's more uncontested marks, and we're seeing so many defenders, like 2 or 3 defenders a game, are going like 90 plus, and some of them are going like 130 plus.
And it's not like common names either.
No, yeah. So like even like Collingwood, like Maynard, Howe, and Crisp all combined for like over 300. So there's a lot of points to go around in defence. There was no Harlett there, but I don't think Harlett gets that much of the ball. No. Not as much as he used to. So I'm thinking about it because of his price. I don't know. We'll see. But I just feel like they used him a hell of a lot. And I think last year he was saying that like he wants to earn his teammates' respect back. Maybe he feels guilty for the COVID breach or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, he's still very young, decent trajectory. I thought he improved as a defender late last year. I thought he was really good in what he did. Good kick. So I'm thinking about it. But is Houston someone you'd consider?
Look, I like him as a smoky, and yeah, the amount of pill he got on the weekend was a lot. But I just think there's so many more defenders that will just finish slightly ahead of him, whether it be by only a couple of points on average. I don't know, but I mean, we haven't even barely mentioned Stewart, and I mean, Luke McDonald wasn't the best on the weekend, but there's who else is there? That's slipping my mind.
The Collingwood, like Maynard, for example.
Oh yeah, Maynard didn't. Yeah. And I guess Crisp. Whitfield injured and Luke Ryan.
Yeah. I was thinking about Crisp, but then I realised he doesn't take kickouts. I think he's their main rebounder.
So I just think Houston falls in that pack somewhere.
Probably the lower end.
Yeah. But yeah, if defenders are scoring a lot, there could be 10 or 12 that you could pick and you'd probably be fine.
Well, that's the thing, right? I'd rather pay, instead of going like a Dusty, I'd rather just go an extra defender, for example, like structurally. Just because there's more value in them. But yeah, it's an interesting one. So I would definitely be going 5 to 6 defenders.
Yeah, load up there. Yep.
5 minimum. 6 is excessive, and you probably don't want to be in that position, being stuck. But
yeah, if you don't like 5, you go. If you want to go 4, you got to have like a mid-price option or something like that as well, like a Clark or we'll speak about later.
Top 3 mids in our smoky. So we'll just go through our top 3 mids for this year as starting picks. So obviously price is a factor when we consider these guys.
Yeah.
Number 1, a guy that was sort of off my radar all year, and just wanted to see what the Bulldogs setup was, and he went berserk and reminded us that he's been the top 2 mid for 3 years straight now. Jack McRae's number 1. Number 2, I have Zach Merritt with the more CBAs this year. Number 3 is one of my favourite players, Jack Steele. So who are your top 3?
Yeah, look, mine's McRae again. Obviously, we think Neil probably, reigns as the highest average, but taking price into factor, it's McRae. Clary I've got, which I'm surprised you don't, but, that kid, I don't think he's missed a game in 4 years or something. Like,
No.
Just durable as ever, even with, little niggles here and there. And I got Merritt as well. And then my Smokey, did you say your Smokey? Mine's Josh Kelly.
Yuck. Every year, same thing.
He's always, I know. He's never played a full season, so it's, well, he's a Smokey with, we know he can average 115, 120 in his sleep. He's just always at risk of having to trade him at some point. Yeah.
My Smokey is Cristiano Petrarca. Didn't have the best weekend, to be honest, and a little bit concerned how he adapts to the rules, because he gets a lot of the ball at stoppages. Yeah. But in the trial game I was watching, he was getting a lot of uncontested ball as well.
Yeah, against the Titans, I watched. He was good. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of help against the Dogs, and the Dogs destroyed it. So, yeah, you're right.
They went berserk, the whole lot of them. Even no one's saying about Liver. Liver went 140. Lipinski went 110.
Yeah, I know.
Baz went 100 nearly. It was nuts. Never seen anything like it before. Yeah. So it was Petrarca and VFL players basically in harms. Yeah. So
not mids. Yeah. So.
It was a rough game, but I'm still a believer. I see him as an upgrade target. We can go back to McRae real quick. I think, we saw what he can do, and it was a good reminder. And we were all worried that he was going to play wing because we haven't seen him with Treloar. So apparently Treloar, it was reported that he played a little bit of half forward and half back in the Dogs. It must have been the VFL side or something.
Yeah.
I think it was like Bont said when the Dogs signed Treloar, he said that the midfielders at the Dogs were a little bit on edge, and they rightly so, right? Because they're all fighting for mid minutes as it is, and then they bring in like a stoppage player for a lot of money, and they're like what the hell? What are you doing, the Dogs? Like, give us a proper key defender, not
forward.
So honestly, like, I don't know how they see it, and Treloar's obviously going to go through the midfield a fair bit. Well, I assume. But really, if Bevo's, in my opinion, Bevo wouldn't want to upset the top Dogs and take them mid-time away too much, because they're all better than Treloar, in my opinion. They're more durable as well. So, but Treloar does add something to that midfield. So, I think the mid-time might get slightly reduced, but make no mistake, McRae, Bont, they're the main men in there.
Yeah.
So happy with McRae at number 1.
Happy, yeah. Shameful to say he wasn't in my side, but after that, not have him, I don't think.
How quickly we forget. But that's what we needed to. We needed to see something because we had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago is all you would speak about is McRae. So.
Do you want to speak about Zach Merritt?
Yeah, let's go.
So Zach Merritt, more CBAs this year. Old reliable Big Footy reckons that he wasn't too happy under Johnny Worsfold, and he's a bit happier under Rutten. And there was a video out this morning which I watched. I was on the Essendon YouTube channel just about building into the season, like a 30-minute sort of a mini documentary.
Yeah, I watched that. Good.
So Merritt's like back in the leadership group. Sounds very happy at the moment. We don't know what he's thinking really, but said all the good things that he wanted to hear, that you want to hear from him. He's getting more inside mid-time this year. Maybe Brunton's trying to keep him happy, which is definitely a smart move, giving him inside mid-time. But he's really strong on the outside as well, and that's sort of the way the game's going.
Yeah, that's his strength, I reckon.
So there is 0% chance I take Merritt out, and for me, McRae and Merritt are the most obvious 2 picks this year.
Yeah.
Full preseason as well. So you definitely locking in Zach Merritt?
Yeah, like you said, him and McRae, like they play that inside mid-time, that if Merritt's getting it, and then they're probably the top midfielders in the comp at getting outside pill as well. Like, if Merritt gets involved in that kick chain sort of game, linking from defence, it's just like we saw, points galore if it continues. So, yeah, I've had him for, I think, a week or so now. So, yeah, I don't think I'll be taking him out at all.
No, I think he's missed like 2 games in 5 years, and they were because of suspension or something.
Yeah, the three I said, McRae, Oliver, and Merritt are all durable. So yeah, I think it's just very safe, and they'll be some of the top scorers.
Speaking of Oliver, so I've taken him out,
Mm.
and it's only because of one reason, and that's because of the. I overreact to these things, right? But he had a little bit of soreness. It's probably nothing, but on top of the limited preseason, it sounds stupid and ridiculous, right? But that's just how I am.
So Lloyd, what you're still starting Lloyd though?
There's different. Lloyd has a 2 week injury. Clary's shoulder has been ongoing, or he's been.
Is that what the soreness was?
I don't know.
He's fine, bro.
Okay, someone on YouTube commented and said that he spoke to Clary at Melbourne training. It's a shoulder.
Hang on. You quote Big Footy, that's one thing. To quote the YouTube comments, you can't do that.
This is why I only failed one uni assignment ever, and that was because I refused to use a Google Scholar. I used like Forbes.com or something, so yeah. It's not that important to me, but
you can admit you're not starting Claret because you want to start the third man in your list. That's why. You can admit it.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I'm sort of attached to Jack Steele, but
yeah.
So you're not worried about Clary at all?
I'm not at all. I mean, they need him so desperately after watching the weekend that he's just got to come in and try and carry them.
I don't want to sit through another season of. I've never owned Clary in 3 years, and he has to come in.
What?
No, I haven't. I don't know how.
So that's you hate him or something?
No, I love him. He's been in my team all year up until the Phillips announcement. So it's like, But that's the thing. McRae wasn't in, so McRae has to come in.
Yeah, that's who you're talking about.
And
I guess
I'm really happy with Merritt for the full preseason. So
yeah,
maybe Clary starts a bit slower. I don't know. See how he goes, but he's an animal. He's an endurance beast as well. And I watched him in the trial game, and oh my goodness,
the Tigers one, yeah, him and Track completely tore us apart.
Oh Jesus, it's gonna you can't start all these guys.
That's the thing, because we're going large in defence. It just means we got in most years I love starting 5 mids.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Structure,
unfortunately.
We'll go to Jack Steele. I really, really like Jack Steele, and I do remember 2018. 2018 sounds a long time ago, but that was apart from 2020, that was the last time he played pure inside mid for a stretch, and he averaged 110 in full length games back in 2018, second half of the year. 2019, he tagged for most of the year, all games except for 2 or 3 games that he played in. He tagged. They're really disappointing. Yeah, I did start him. I held him because I was such a believer, and then he got injured in the buys. But I still believed in him. I don't know. He thought they'd stop tagging him, but it wasn't to be.
Last year,
2020, you had him, but he was he was the number 2 midfielder. I don't think we should ignore that. So yeah, he's maybe less stoppages sort of help hinder him a little bit. But I think he's in for a big season, a really good preseason by the sound of it, and he's added an uncontested game to his game style, and he can also kick goals. So he was kicking for example, Clary was kicking 0.2 goals a game, Steele was kicking 0.6, and also Steele was taking a few contested marks. So that's where some upside is.
You said it all with Steele, because I've obviously watched him closely last year, owning him. Obviously, I traded him in. I didn't start him. I'll say that. I don't think many would have started him. But he scores in literally every... you look at Supercoach scoring and how you can score. I think he's got share of points between every single avenue. Like you said, kicks goals. He's got an outside game now, contested pill, takes marks, all that, tackles. He's good at everything. He's just not, really good at one thing, So it's he might go missing for 5-10 minutes, and then he pops up with a contested mark and a goal, and there's 25 deep. You know what I mean? I was never worried about him because he just can score very quickly, and I'll be looking to get him later in the year. I just think he's slightly overpriced because of that awesome year last year. So
fair enough.
I'll target him later.
And then we have Petrarca and Jelly. So I think we all know the story with Jelly. Just a matter of if you want to take that risk.
Every year I get sucked in. I don't think I'm getting sucked in this time.
And then Petrarca is more, how's he going to go with the new rules? Longer quarters and less interchanges and Does he play a bit more forward? I don't know. I think happy to keep him as an upgrade target. We can move on to the Ruckman now. And the Rucks, there's all these rookie Rucks everywhere. So there's no point really discussing our top 3 plus Smokey for Ruckman.
Gaundy.
Yeah. Is there any doubt in your mind about Gordon and Grundy? Any reservations to picking those two?
I'm trying to think of something, and there isn't. Like, I'll lock them in every year until proven otherwise, until they show me why not.
Yeah. It might get...
Yeah. No.
It might get interesting.
There isn't.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying there isn't. I can't think of anything.
Yeah. The only thing is there are 15% less stoppages over the preseason. I expect like the preseason sort of stuff, the changes might be a little bit more extreme to what they are in the actual season. But nonetheless, these two are the two best captain options, most likely. I don't really know what else to say.
They score outside of stoppages as well. So
yeah, like Grundy's had like
gone,
30 games.
Tested marks, intercept marks, and Grundy gets 20 touches a game. Like, yeah, they're fine. They're fine. The thing is, even if that is true, the rest are still going to, the other ruckmen who are lengths behind him are going to go further behind as well. Like there's always going to be that gap. So until Gorn falls off in however many years, another 2 or 3, then I'll be starting him every year.
Yeah. Gorn's time on ground might go down a bit, and Luke Jackson might chop him out a little bit more. Yeah. But I don't think it's enough to not start him. Like, his fixture, it's like Meek, Hunter, and Flynn. Oh my god.
3 rookies.
You really want to sit through that?
Yeah. No thanks.
Jesus Christ. It's going to be pretty, it's just not worth the stress. And then so we can speak about the rookie ruck. So there's Flynn, Meek, Tracy, Fullerton, and Paul Hunter. Briggs is the other ruckman for the Giants, but he's a defender forward, so he's kind of tied to Flynn.
Yeah.
So I'm not confident any of these players play after 5-6 weeks, right? Is there any one of these players you prefer or thinking about? Like, maybe we can start one.
That's the thing. Which one is it? Like, I got no clarity on any of these situations. Like, so what we know, Bruce is out, and Mumford's on the list, but he was playing 2, so they're going to go with Flynn or Briggs.
It seems like
it. I don't know. And we don't find out Sunday round 1, so
It might be, Flynn has a few weeks to prove himself. It seems like Flynn will get the round 1 nod, but Briggs played okay. With Flynn, it does worry me that they kept Mumford on the list, and they have 4 ruckmen on the list, and like I think most clubs have like 3 or 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
But retaining Mumford's pretty concerning because he's done.
So. They haven't had a good ruck in years, man.
Yeah. So with Flynn and Briggs, maybe one of them play. You can run like for me, I'm probably going to run Charlie Combin. I'm not sure at F8. I know a lot of people don't like that, but that would give me flexibility. It might require a correction, but once Flynn or Briggs, one of them establish themselves, you would think they just keep playing unless they're in and out. Who knows? But it's a bit of a headache. The best ruckman here, I think, is actually Meek. Probably showed the most. Paul Hunter was very good though. A bit older as well. So Fullerton and Tracy. Tracy's pretty raw. He's not going to play ruck. He's key forward basically, as far as I know. I don't know if you can pinch hit or not, but in training he's been playing forward. So, and then Fullerton, I'm not really sure. McStay's due, and that's the thing. So we can go through these players and why they might get dropped at some point, right? So Flynn and Briggs are like I don't think 2 of them play. I'm not sure. Maybe they can play both, but it sounds like Flynn is going to play, but form dependent, he might get dropped. So there's your risk there. So Lloyd, Meek, and Tracy, one of them probably gets dropped for Sean Darcy, who is due in the early rounds. I'm not sure when. Could be round 1, could be 2, could be 3. That's kind of the range they're looking at the moment. So on Fremantle's website, they did discuss that they might play 2 rucks, or they might even play, is it Alex Pearce up forward. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. But to me, Meek actually looked really good and he competed well with Nick Nat. So while we don't know for sure, I would bet on Meek playing well enough that he holds his spot. So I actually like him out of this lot. And then, Fullerton has McStay to come back in the early rounds. I think it was round
3 to 6, so 3 to 6. I don't mind him.
You might get stuck with him. I don't know. He's not going to play much ruck, though. He's going to be forward.
I think he had about 4 or 5 hit-outs on the weekend, so he definitely went in there. He was in a couple of centre bounces too. Not many, though. You're right, not many.
Yeah. And then Paul Hunter, right? So Paddy Ryder is out indefinitely. They asked Brett Ratton how long Brett Ratton, they asked how long is Paddy Ryder out. He's out for, they don't know exactly, but Ratton was sort of expecting about a month. But it could be longer, could be less. But they don't know exactly. Just hasn't seen his family for a long time. And then Marshall's due to come back. He said Marshall's back round 2 or 3, maybe 4.
I feel like they've just got no idea on any of these.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one. So I think it's actually Flynn or Meek. Hunter's nice because he's cheaper, but okay, so Ryder, he's not playing with Ryder and Marshall in, right?
No.
So
he might not even play with one of them in, because do they prefer McKernan as the sort of forward pinch hitter? They would.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think as soon as any of Ryder or Marshall are back, he's gone.
Yeah.
I got no idea, man.
So I think it's right now I'm thinking Flynn or Meek. I kind of think Meek has a better shot.
Yeah.
But only because I think Meek's a better player. Like Flynn's averages in the NEFL are not acceptable for what you want from him at AFL level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I saw him play. He's kind of pretty physical. I thought he was okay, but just not. Haven't really seen much of him, but I was more impressed with Meek. But this was Flynn. I didn't see much. I was only watching the trial game, so something to think about. But as it stands, probably Meek or Flynn. But yeah, still need to. Hopefully, we get some more confirmation from the clubs as to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the rucks over. So we can go to the forwards, and our top 3 forwards are starting picks and our smoky. So my top 3, number 1 is Dunkley by a mile. Number 2 is Dustin Martin, and number 3 is Tom Phillips. My smoky is Nick Hind. Who are yours?
I have Dunkley and Dusty as well. My third, I've got Caldwell. I liked what I saw in that game of him playing. I know he only played, 70% on the ground, but yeah, he was clean. He was, strong for not the biggest body, but he was all right. And then I've got Tom Atkins, which is a big smoky, but with the role he played, and like we were talking about in the defenders, if he keeps it, it's a lot of points there. So
we'll speak about Atkins and Hind soon, but we can start with Josh Dunkley.
Yeah, you go for it.
I've done like 5 videos dedicated to him basically over the past year or so. But yeah, one of my favourite players, the best contested ball winner in the league, in my opinion. Minimum top 3. And we saw it 20 contested.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even with max CBAs. So I'm a huge fan of Dunkley. There was a lot of concerns. Was there trying to get a read on what Beveridge was doing with him? Like, was he on the outer? Because that's what it sounded like to me. He's far too good for that, to be treated like that. So it's the same stance, really. With low CBAs, he finds a way to score. He's got a massive engine. And that's the thing with the Dogs mids. The new rules help them. They are high endurance players. And they can run all day. They're pretty durable as well. So for me, Dunkley's a clear, obvious pick. If he doesn't get the CBAs, probably 100 average. If he does, well, you might not be fun to watch if you don't own him.
To the moon.
We know what he's capable of. And he's in his prime as well. He had a good preseason, ran a PB. Is there any reason not to select Josh Dunkley?
Luke Beveridge, that's it.
Yeah.
That's literally it. Like you said, he's one of the best inside mids in the comp. So As long as he gets a decent and healthy amount of stoppage work and centre bounces, then yeah. I mean, I had him for that stretch 2 years ago as a forward, and it was just ridiculous. The scores he was putting up, the double ton, 160, 160 is just crazy. Clear lock for mine. I took him out for Dusty because you brainwashed me, but he's back in. Yeah,
that's too. Yeah, it was just so you're trying to get in the preseason. All you're trying to do is get a read on things. So maybe you overplay it a little bit, but thank God we had an Amy series game because my team's changed a fair bit, and it just makes you realize all the things you initially thought at the end of last year, and you realize you have too many thoughts inside your head. So yeah, big fan of Josh Dunkley, and even with low CBAs, he's a fine pick in my opinion. But I know we haven't seen it with Treloar, but I think hopefully they keep him happy. But yeah, low CBAs is still passable, so not worried in the slightest. So Dustin Martin seems pretty keen this year and having a good preseason. They're always raving about him. He's doing extras as usual. So it's hard because he's sort of not starting Dusty. I don't think it's going to hurt you. And so all the preseason hype about him, it's good to hear, and he's getting plenty of mid-time. But
we hit this hype, like they've been hyping him for some reason for like 3 months. I don't know why, but
yeah, anyway, it kind of happens every year as well.
Yeah. Anyway,
so it probably gets tagged at some stage as well, but it's just again 2 or 3 years ago he said that he wants to peak at the right time, and he's not always going to be at his best for every home and away game.
No.
That's pretty much been the case the last 3 years. Obviously, it was finals, Supercoach, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said it as a Tigers fan, obviously watch him every week. Like, in the big games against big clubs and whatnot, that's probably when he scores his best because he's motivated. Everyone wants to beat the best teams. You want to judge yourself on the best competition.
Yeah.
But if we're playing Adelaide, no offense, or whoever the bottom 4 sides are that year, and we're winning by 10 goals, he sort of just coasts, and Danarioli and Castagna and whoever wants to just pop up and kick their 3 goals, he lets him do it. Like, he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be, don't expect us to drop off. So there's always going to be those games every year, and we'll just be able to snap him up after he drops a 50 or something, So starting pick will still be fine because, there's big games at the start of the year. But I think, 5 or 6 weeks in, he just sort of starts to pace himself and get ready for the back end.
Yep, pretty much. So fine starting pick, but not going to hurt you too bad, we assume.
No.
Get him in at some point. So our third picks, I have Tom Phillips. So I didn't realize his ownership till just before. It's 22%.
Whoa.
A little higher than I thought. Yeah. So the thing with Phillips is he's always been a good accumulator, and the whole half forward thing, it seems like that's going to disappear because he's not a half forward. He's a winger. And it seems like he's also playing a little bit inside, which is great. And I thought he looks good on the inside. So knows how to find the pill. He can run all day long. And yeah, so for 400k, Hawthorn are going to lose a lot of games, in my opinion, this year. They looked competitive in they beat the Bulldogs, for example. So I could be wrong on that. They could do a bit better than we expect. But I look at their list and I'm a little confused how Clarko is getting the best out of it and like playing so well in the preseason. But I'm not sure. Like, I don't think they can compete with like the really big clubs based on their list, and they're going to lose. Yeah, it's going to impact Phillips when they get smashed sometimes. So for me, I think he's going to get enough. They want to use him both inside and outside, even with O'Meara and Mitchell, from what I gather. That's what the coach said. The coach said throughout the year he'll be used inside and outside. So that's what they want from him. The endurance, the low interchanges, I would think help him. So for that reason, I'm expecting high 80s, mid to mid 90s, which isn't great, but I think there's some sort of upside with him this year based on what we've heard in the preseason. So, are you looking at Tom Phillips at all?
Look, he's on the radar, of course. I mean, we talk about these players, and we're only starting Dunkley, and then the rest are mid-price or rookies, or high-price rookies. Look, obviously keep an eye on him and others that we'll look to trade in and upgrade to, because there'll be a few spots we need to fill. Look, he played well on the weekend. No, there's no doubt. He put 140 or something, and
on more, but
got a lot of the pill. But yeah, just it's good because we'll get to see what it's like. I know you'll start. Are you starting him?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, for me anyway, then I'll get to see how he goes in the first few weeks. To see if he's a target of mine, and I guess I'll just listen to how you react.
See how we go.
When the Hawks games are on.
At 400k, I don't see his downside that bad. Like last year, made some bad picks in the forward line, but
yeah, we won't speak about him.
No,
but you can correct them. Yeah, that's your point.
Yeah, I don't see Phillips' downside as that bad. It's like slightly underperforming, maybe, and he's only paid 400k, and chance at a keeper as well. So, still trying to figure out who the top forwards are. There's a few big names, but there's a few question marks on some of them. Like
Super
what the
tough.
hell was Sidebottom's role, for example?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Jai Caldwell, you'll thinking of this pick?
I've had him. Yeah, look, he was in my side for a little bit after that game on the weekend. Obviously toying with how the side would look, because he's only 350k or something. So it's it's quite a nice price. Look, if I didn't have the structure the way I did with the big defenders and the four big mids and whatnot, and obviously the two big rucks, then he'd probably find a way in there somewhere. But yeah, I like the game he played. He was in a lot of their CBAs. Obviously, they got him across for a reason. Heppel's moved back. He's not in there anymore. McGrath still seemed to play a lot of wing, a lot of outside.
Yeah.
So, it's looking like it's going to be him, Sheil, and Merritt as the main three, and then whoever rotates in there. But he played well, so I think he'll be a fine pick.
Caldwell's a really interesting one, and for me, I don't really want to pick this, and there's a few reasons. And the main reason is I have a video called Risk Assessment of Premium Players. Even though he's a mid-price, he can still be applied to that. And I have like a criteria, right, where I really prefer players to be in the right age bracket, have some sort of proven scoring, need to have the right role. So when I look through this, like I worry about Caldwell's durability because it's been poor in the past. And he did say like he's had a full preseason, but he did say he would pull up sore at stages, which is normal, I guess. But I don't know. You'd rather him not say that. And he's very young. I look at his frame. He's pretty small frame, but plays bigger than his frame anyway. I don't know what he can do consistently, but one thing I will say is the talent is definitely there. I cannot believe the Crows picked Chase Jones over Caldwell. Not sure what I'm thinking. But yeah, he's a really big talent, really skillful mid. Adds a lot to that midfield. He's a player for sure. I just worry about how can he sustain this at a young age of one full preseason, because it's pretty much his first full preseason. Yeah, and he's like 20 or something. So, and does McGrath get more CBAs at some point? Does Heppel move into the midfield at some point? I'm not sure. I'm expecting like 85 to 90, to be honest, but I'm not sure. I think you can do worse than Caldwell, though. And our Smokies, so mine is Nick Hind. So Nick Hind racked it up in the VFL a few years ago, moved to the Saints, played half forward, back to the Bombers, and had 17 touches in the first half, racking it up off defence, providing a lot of run. Probably needs, I wouldn't say he lacks composure, but was kind of rushing a little bit at times. But other than that, he adds a lot to that Essendon defence, because there's no McKenna, no Sard. He's the main drive of halfback now. I like him for 340. He's got a small shoulder issue at the moment, so I don't know if he plays round one or not. It's just I'm not sure what he can score at AFL level. But I think he's one, just because defenders are scoring more points, just because he's one to consider. Do you have any thoughts on Hind? We have Atkins as well. It's sort of similar. Now moved to halfback.
Yeah, super similar. Both forwards too, aren't they, in Supercoach? So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Tommy Atkins was a good rookie a couple of years ago. So he seems like he's good in the clinches, but I'm actually very surprised to see him play halfback. I didn't really see that coming. But he played well, like 28 touches. He actually still had 14 contested, which I didn't realise looking at it now. So he still obviously was getting a bit of hard pill down there. It's just one to watch. I mean, it's a risky start, of course, but he played well on the role change. And then there's sort of that thing with Jordan Clark down there too, which we'll speak about later. He was taking kickouts, Atkins wasn't, so it's still Stewart and looked like Clark that are getting, 3 points basically, which is what you love for a defender. But so I think it's a bit risky, but it's just Smokey that I think he's $290 or something, so it's reasonable price.
Really awkward.
It is awkward, but I just don't have the guts to start him.
It's almost like he's only 40k more than Zeeble. So
that's a good point.
Here's the thing: I don't really know what's going on with what Chris Cott is doing. Like the comments on Jordan Clark, for example, weren't like all that convincing, but the eye test he passed quite easily. So Atkins was good off halfback. I did watch some footage of him. I was like kind of on my phone watching the game, watching fan footy, I should say. But I don't know. He said he felt a little bit uncomfortable in the role after the game, and it just felt like he was just kind of just running everywhere, all over the ground. So, like, I don't know.
Like he was still playing a mid-roll down back.
Ball at times.
Yeah.
So, but I think he for example, Hind has played a lot of halfback over in the mid. Atkins is sort of new to the role, so Hind's probably safer, but I don't know about the ceiling. Atkins, you can't. I don't think you can ignore it, but maybe just try and figure it out, and maybe pay a bit extra if he's playing Unreal. I don't know. It's just too risky, actually. Maybe just let it go for now. Just see how it unfolds. Now we can speak about mid prices. So basically, we'll make a comment on these guys. We can speak about them as well. But boom, bust, or neutral. So yeah, boom is they're going to go really well. Bust is a trap. Neutral is like they'll perform okay, but they're neutral. It's like not bad, not good. First one, he's suspended anyway. Zach Williams, boom, bust, or you neutral on Williams?
It's funny. I did have him when Supercoach first opened up, but he's a bust. He's a bust potential. Already a guy that plays halfback, gets a lot of injuries and niggles in the midfield. I mean, it's only going to go up to me. You can't start him anyway, which is, I guess, not lucky, but for people who were thinking about it, may have got him out of a tough situation. But he screams bust to me.
I mean, he's a star player, but there's a role change. It's split between forward and mid. Forward is not a Supercoach friendly role, and because he might get some mid time, so he might get an acceptable score. But with all the defenders the way they're going, we have durable types with a high ceiling because of the way defenders are going. So why would you bother? I'm not sure. Oh, he's a boom. Not boom. He's a bust. Yeah, it'll only be a matter of time before something goes wrong with him. Liam Duggan, boom, bust, or neutral?
I think just neutral with Liam Duggan. I don't have a lot to say about him other than, like with Williams, I just think these two guys are going to be way outscored by a lot of other defenders that are just not going to be good enough to be anywhere near the top 6 or 8. So I just don't see... Like, if there was a lot of value, obviously there's a bit more value with Williams' price, but there's not a lot of value with Duggan's, is there?
Maybe a little bit, but...
It's just a lot more better defenders down there that they're not going to be really relevant.
Feels like a low ceiling option as a player and as Supercoach scorer, so seems like a waste of time, really.
Just looking at all the options, it just these two guys just don't really cross my mind at all anymore as options. So
he could average like 100, but I think that's probably his like absolute limit this year.
Like best case, yeah.
Yeah. So next we have Hayden Young. Boom.
I've probably got him as a neutral as well. His price makes it probably neutral. If he was 200k, that could be a boom pick for sure, and we'd probably be in a lot more teams. But 270 or 280, it's just too much for me, and a lot has to go right for it to be a good pick. He hasn't played many games because he was out for a long time last year. He's clearly got the talent. Everyone already raving about his kicking, and we've barely seen it at AFL level, but he has all the tools. I just think the price is super, super awkward.
Might as well pay up for a premium defender.
Yeah.
So I thought he played okay. They were using him out of defense, but I'm not sure. He seems a little bit young, a bit raw-ish. So he had a good preseason. I think, just not a lot of experience at AFL level. So scored well as a junior, though.
Yep.
I'm probably neutral, but it doesn't seem it's going to reward you too much. But in the future, it's definitely one to watch. Okay, now we have this pick is probably the biggest headache. Jordan Clark. What are you thinking?
Fuck, jeez, it's hard not to say boom with what we saw on the weekend. He absolutely dominated in like 60% game time, but you hesitate to say boom purely just because of the job security. I mean, there's just no clarification on. I don't think Duncan's playing early, but he could just easily come straight back in for him. They got Isaac Smith across. They still got Tui's there, although he's getting on. There's all these guys that I don't know. Does Chris Scott play him the whole year? I just don't see him playing every game. So
how can you not though? I don't understand. But Chris Scott, it sounds like he's got some things to work on, but the improvement is there. Like they said it. Like he's significantly improved the preseason, and that was the reports throughout the preseason. So this is what they've needed for a while. Just like speed off halfback. So I feel like I should make room, have a plan to get him in. I don't think I'll start him because as far as we know, Duncan is out round 1, pretty sure. So, like, what happens when Duncan comes in? I think they got a few other guys to come in. Like, Tui's still there. Is he even best 22? I don't even know.
Yeah.
So, I think I kind of want to have a plan to get him in if he plays past round 1. But look, he's only in his 3rd year, and the sample size that we've seen, yes, he's improved. Can he sustain this sort of form? We wouldn't have a clue, because certainly in his first year, but he was very inconsistent. Last year, couldn't even make the team. Not sure if he was injured or not. So it's from what the coach said, he's got some things to work on. So 240 is really a terrible price. I think I'm going to avoid for the time being, but I have a feeling that we might be forced to get him in.
At that price, it's super hard to get him in though. Like, if you're not starting many mid-price players, it's hard to do it in one trade.
I know. So I don't. Yeah, trying to make a plan for him is super awkward. Like, I feel like I'd have to give up Zeeble or something.
Yeah, well, you'd have to have enough sitting there as well. Oh, Zeebel's about the same. So yeah, I don't want to obviously go primo down to him. So yeah,
probably cost like 2 trades. For now, I'm going to leave it purely because of the job security. And realistically, he's a 3rd-year player who he might be more wing, might be more halfback. I think probably better suited to halfback. So I have a lot of defenders that can score points back there as well. I'm not exactly sure what to expect from him. Like, are we expecting like 90 from him? I don't even know. So maybe 80. Like, if he goes 80, it's not going to hurt you that bad at 240k. Maybe a little bit, but not too bad. So for me, just see how he goes when Duncan comes back in. Now, we'll move to the Mid Prices. Can't say I'm a big fan of these. First, we'll speak about Tim Taranto. Any chance you pick Big Timmy?
Not after last year, mate. I know he's coming off injury and we probably shouldn't have jumped on, but I guess his value is very good this year at 450, but I just no, thanks.
There will be games where he just scores 70 and you wonder why. Oh, he played good though.
He had 30, but
Yeah.
he butchers every single one of them. He's a great player, Timmy, but yeah, until he cleans that up, I don't see him being. Look, at that price, it's probably value. Obviously, he could get above 500k, maybe push 550 and work out for you. But I just don't see it.
There's too many big dogs in the midfield. It's going to hurt you later in the season, I think.
Yeah.
So, probably like 100-ish average. But we'll see.
The thing is, it reminds me of like Brad Crouch 2 years ago when I started him at, I think he was even cheaper than 450.
It's 400.
And he just averaged, 100, a little bit over or something for the whole year. And I kept him the whole year and finished 500. Like, I guess that can work if you get everything else right, I guess, which is probably what I did that year. But that's very, very, that's not going to happen every year. So it can work. It can work.
It will certainly help your starting team out.
Yeah.
Because you're picking him as a keeper.
Yes. Yeah. Couldn't get rid of Brad Crouch that year just because he just was doing enough.
Yeah.
And I guess if Tim does the same thing, yeah.
When you say it that way, it does make you think a little bit. Could be an okay pick. But he seems really a bit more motivated this year. If we get Hubs again, like, is he going to do the same thing? Probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Taranto's probably an okay pick, but it's not everyone's cup of tea.
It's neutral. If we're gonna stick to the script, I think it's neutral. It's not boom. It's not bust.
Now the better GWS midfielder, the Green Machine. So Leon, I'm neutral on this because with all the mid-time in the world, it looks like he's capable, and he might have even been capable of it last year because he was getting barely any centre bounces last year. He's a stoppage player. Maybe stoppage players are hurt a little bit this year. He has an uncontested side to his game, which is good, and he can go forward. So for me, while I rate him higher, I think Leon has him like 5th behind Kelly, Taranto, Cornelio, and Hopper. So it's going to be very hard to average 95 plus when those 4 guys are probably going to get more centre bounces than you. So I think he can go 100 plus with the CBAs just because he's the most gifted stoppage player we've seen and his body's ready to go. So I'm not sure I see any point in starting this unless you think he's going to get more CBAs, more time on ground, and be a keeper. So any interest in Tom Green?
I did 2 weeks ago. I toyed with obviously different structures back then, but I just, like you said, don't see a point in it. Too much has to go right for him to be worth it. I just think there's just he's still on the outer of that core midfield group. So, yeah, there's still big dogs there. Yeah.
So we also have Hind and Caldwell, which we spoke about anyway, and Atkins. So skip over those guys. And there's also 2 others. So there's Haitley and Heppel. So Haitley's dead as a pick. I liked him, but not to be. And that's the thing. One of the things with picking players, I think you got to stick to picking good players. Haitley was not good last year. He was dreadful. Just thought the role change would help him, but might not even play round 1. It would be pretty funny though if he does play round 1 and scores 110. But
look, Supercoach, as hard as you can make it a hard game, but it is very simple at its core. You just, like you said, pick the good players. You don't have to be too cute.
Yeah,
trying to find value or random picks. It's just pick a solid starting team and trade well, and you should be all right.
Yeah, I agree. We can touch on Dyson Heppel as well. So I did watch him play, and he didn't score that well. And I think I don't know if he's still managing his foot, but they've pretty much nurtured it throughout the preseason. So yeah, super hard worker, done probably a lot of work into that. You trust him to stick to his rehab, go above and beyond. He just looked a little slow to me. He looked like a guy that's missed a year of footy. So maybe he works his way into the season, and for 310k, it's probably not the worst thing. Has a good role. But I'm not really sure what he's capable of post-injury. I think I'll just let this one go. So I'm kind of, I wouldn't say Hebble's a bust, but I'm pretty neutral, closer to bust than boom. Do you similar or?
Yeah, I'm neutral too. You're right. He did look a bit slow. Not used to the game pace, but playing that role, I don't think there's a bust potential there. The only bust would be him getting injured again. If he plays in that role, I don't see him as a bust. So yeah, neutral for me. While I don't think he'll boom, he'll be an okay pick. Just not one I'm making.
Now we'll skip over the Ruckman, and we'll go straight to the forward line. There is Hickey and Steph Martin. Steph Martin's 34, and Hickey's a bad Ruckman. I don't really need to say much more. But we can go to the forward line. So Zach Bailey, 420k, maybe more midfield opportunity with Rayner, who was supposed to play a little bit through the inside midfield. He's done his ACL, unfortunately. I actually didn't even watch this game, but I've heard a lot of good things about. I know DR loves Zach Bailey, might pick him. I'm not sure the role is good enough with Bailey because he's quite versatile, and that's not a good thing in Supercoach, unfortunately, for the most part. I don't know how much mid-time he gets. They got Neil and Lyons are mainstays, and Berry, they don't really play much elsewhere. I think Lyons can play forward a bit, but you expect those guys to get most of the mid-minutes. McCluggage goes through there as well. Bailey's still 21. I don't know if his role is going to be good enough, but the talent is there, and I'm not sure he's proven the consistency, but he has improved over the preseason. I am neutral on this because I think he'll score well. I don't think he's gonna score enough purely because, or mostly because I don't know how they use him for the most part. I don't think his CVAs were that high on the weekend. Are you thinking he's a boom or bust?
Look, neutral is probably the right answer, but I'm actually going to say bust here. Like, I just don't think he's got enough of a right. Super talented player. Look, I'll say that, I guess, from the start. He's awesome to watch. He kicks a lot of nice goals. He does really important things in the forward line. Like he'll make that tackle. Of keeping pushing forward. He'll kick an important goal, but just don't think he'll have enough involvement to warrant a selection. But down the line, he might get more midfield time in a couple more years, and he'll be a good pick then. But I just don't think he'll have enough of an involvement to be a very good pick.
Yeah, probably a pass, but yeah. So Jack Siebel, the defender who can't defend. They were showing this on AFL 360, and some of his defensive moves. Look, he's new to the role, so can't be too harsh on him. But the reality is, he was playing on Kaczynski, 6 on him, and like David King was saying, if your man flies for the ball, you got to be with him. And Kaczynski just at one point flew for the ball, and Siebel just watched him from behind, and mark goal. So in terms of his rebounding capabilities, it's not too bad. I don't think he's a great kick. Under less pressure, he can kick a bit better. Because in the midfield, obviously, contested ball winner is slam it on the boot sort of player. That's what I've kind of seen him as for the most part as a midfielder. But took kick-ins, can kick it pretty long. I don't know if he stays in this role because, how much can the coach take of Siebel leaking goals? It was only one game, but...
Well, my question is, how or where is Robbie Tarrant?
Was he playing?
No. So it's him and Hayden Court as the talls. And then they had that Lockie Young kid that they got across from the Bulldogs.
I think he's more of a rebounder.
Yeah, so they were pretty undermanned for talls. And not to mention, like you said, Ziwi's never really played there. So if Robbie Tarrant comes back, I think he's got an injury of some sort at the moment. I honestly can't find what's wrong with him. But if he comes back early and then Zeeble can sort of, take kick-outs and just play on a second or third tall and, he'll be hidden away there. That hopefully I see him keeping that spot, down in defence. So, yeah.
Sounds like they're committed to him for the short term. So
Yeah,
maybe
if you've trained there all pre-season, I don't see. I know it was a defender, rookie kid that's never played a game, kick 6 on him. But if Robbie Tarrant gets back soon, I think it'll be fine.
I'll be starting Zeeble.
Yep, same.
Joe Danaher. Now, my patience will be tested with key forwards because there will be good days and there will be bad days. I've learnt last year that I don't have the patience. Having said that, I had Brown and Danaher in my starting team earlier in the season.
When you sent that, I thought that was mad.
I think he's good enough. Plays for a good team as well. I just think you just have to be a little bit patient with Danaher. I don't actually have him. 230k is a pretty frustrating price as well. So, but really good job security and on-field option. Yeah, I think he'll work. I think he'll make like 120, 130k. You got to remember, he hasn't played for a long time as well. So has done a huge chunk of the preseason. Can his body hold up week to week to week? I guess we're all expecting it to because of his preseason. I don't want to deal with this pick, to be honest, but I definitely think he can make a quick 100 to 120, maybe a bit more. Are you picking Danaher?
It's literally down to Zeeble, Danaher, and Impey, and I'm picking 2. So I've got to leave one out, and I'm the same as you at the moment. It's Danaher. He's a definition of boom or bust. If we were to name this segment after him, it'd be exactly the poster boy, because who knows what's going to happen. He could easily get injured in the first couple of games, or he could literally be on 15 goals after a couple of games. He's that good of a player when he's up and running. So it's kind of scary not starting him, because he really could just absolutely explode, and then I guess you're not stuffed because you can probably sideways someone to him. So I'll probably not start him. I'll just see how he goes the first couple of rounds, and if I have to correct it, then I will. I think that's what I'll do.
Trying to, because say he goes massive in round 2, scores like 120 or something, kicks like 6.
Yeah,
he's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, you sort of got to get him in.
He's going to drop 50 when you trade him in. So
they open with Sydney, so that's probably the game he could, and then they have Geelong. So probably round 2, you wouldn't think he'd dominate.
No.
So interesting.
I just love the big stage though, Joe.
Yeah, that's true. Anzac Day medalist.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not going to start him, but if it kind of fits the structure, then I don't mind it.
Yep.
Here's the thing with Danaher, Zimpi, Zeeble, Danaher, and Impey. Danaher's the only good player here, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or has still a ceiling to reach, Yeah. It's tough.
So Jarman Impey, I've actually taken him out recently. He's been in my team all preseason, so he has a good role. He's had a decent preseason, it seems. I'm not sure if he's a good player or not, because his production's been pretty poor over his career. I know he's played forward at times, but I'm not really sure what to expect from Impey. Like last year, he did nothing. Played forward though, coming back from ACL as well, so I guess that's forgiving. Why did he rest out? Why did he rest for half a game? We don't know. I didn't like it. It's probably nothing, but yeah, why does he need to be rested for? I don't know. I don't think he's that great of a player. I'm happy to go without him, to be honest. So I'm actually going to say bust.
Yeah, fair enough.
You have Impey, so I think you do.
I do still, yeah. I would say neutral. I'm not super confident in the pick either, to be honest, but another one we could speak about would be Paddy Dale at that price, and I'm not that confident either, really, in those. It's tough. I might go Impey back to Dano. I'm still so undecided on it, so we will see. But I'll say neutral, yeah, for now.
So we can speak about Paddy Dale as well, I guess, who's in this range. Dale's improved this preseason. He's shown something, which is what we've all been waiting to see from him pretty much, because, high pick, high expectation. The other guys around him are doing pretty well, and Dale not so much. The CBAs were there, and the St Kilda mids didn't score very well. So yeah, Walsh and Cripps were like 50. So it's an interesting one. I think because the role was there, and remember it's hard being a midfielder right now because you're going up against the big dogs. There's really strong midfields everywhere. I don't think I'll pick Dow. I can see why you would. The good preseason is there, and the role is there. And he had 17 touches, which is pretty good, really. Well, not great, but it's okay. Actually, for a midfielder, it's probably not that good, is it? So, against a tough midfield, though, look, if you want to pick him, I think you can. I still haven't figured out if he's good or not. But from what we've seen in the past, he's not good, but it's definitely improved. What do you... I am going to say neutral.
Yeah, Matt, I'm probably going to say bust on this one. I've never been really impressed with him. He's just never been able to put it together. Very rarely seen. Obviously, I'm judging in the past seasons, but I've barely seen him hit a target. Getting the pill doesn't seem as much of an issue. Like, obviously, he doesn't get big numbers, but it's more the finishing part. You see him streaming out. He's got a bit of pace. You see him streaming out of a contest, and he just either he doesn't slow down or he doesn't think. He just throws it on the boot, and it's just it's nowhere near any of his teammates. Like, if he could clean that up, and I guess it's tough. He's probably behind a few guys now, especially with Williams coming in. I guess they've been trying him in there because you have to at this point. He's his fourth year? Like,
yeah, 2017 draft.
It's almost like this is his do or die, I guess, really. So I'm gonna say bust. Just not going out on a limit or anything, but that's probably my prediction. So as you can tell, I probably won't be picking him, but I see the potential in it, I guess, for others that are, but I'm probably going to say bust.
Fair point. Now, a gift for those who've made it to the end. Tell us the league code for the Supercoach take this year.
Yep, we've got a league code. Thanks for listening to, what has it been, over an hour now, is 811759. So if you've been listening the whole way, I think you deserve that.
Yeah.
Get in the Discord as well. This is, most active time of the year, is the start of the year. Everyone discussing the final teams. So yeah.
Thanks for joining me, Anna. Pleasure.
No worries, mate.
And yeah, we'll do these podcasts weekly, all going well. So I think that'll happen this year.
Yep.
So it should be good. Thanks for listening, and see you guys soon.